Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first conversation here with the Bruin AI team. My name is John Woolheim, and of the many things that I am most excited to be here to talk to two of the most brilliant minds out there at UCLA talking about AI right now, not only how AI is working, but how we can do so ethically as we try to create not only societal profit, but societal good. Thank you for joining us. We have 3 points today where you get to learn 3 ways that you can use AI right now. And I mean right now, like by the end of this call, to jump in and actually start using AI, whether this is the first time you've ever heard the phrase AI, or if you are an experienced, if you're joining us from Open AI Campus. In either case, we got something for you. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce our 2 guests today, Utkarsh and Akshay. Let's jump right over. And Akshay, I'd love to have you introduce yourself first, please.
Hey, everybody. This is Akshay. I'm really excited to be on the call. Thanks, John, for having me. And hi to everybody in the community. I am a third year cognitive science student at the University of California, Los Angeles. But apart from being a student, I like to think of myself as an aspiring entrepreneur, which led me to start Bruin AI. I'm the co founder and the president of Bruin AI at UCLA. And we're essentially the first all inclusive AI club on campus, which means that we look at artificial intelligence from a very holistic perspective. We do AI consulting, AI engineering, host conferences that we're going to talk about soon. And part of the conference is talking about this very topic of improvement in personal life through AI. But I've had multiple startups in the past. I've worked with Amazon Web Services. I've worked with NASA JPL in the past, and I'm really excited to be here. I want to talk a little bit about the Southern California Responsible AI Summit that we're hosting on 7th April before I pass it down to Utkarsh. It's a first of its kind undergraduate level AI conference at UCLA, where we're talking about the ethical use cases and the application of AI in our lives and how AI is going to affect students, professionals, and almost everybody. We know that AI has had a significant impact in our lives. And we're really excited to talk a little bit more about this topic. And I'd pass it on to Utkarsh.
Awesome, awesome. Hi, John. I love your t-shirt, by the way. It's looking amazing, and we believe in ChatGPT. But hello, everyone. My name is Utkarsh Lal. I'm a third-year computer science student at UCLA. Currently sitting on campus during my spring break, and it's a pretty exciting time to be talking about AI as well as contributing to this. I am also another co-founder, and I'm the technical director for R&D at Bruin AI. I'm a published researcher with plenty of experience in NLP, as well as I'm currently working on a computer vision project as well, which I can talk about later if anyone's interested. I'm pretty much involved with a lot of research labs at UCLA. I've been involved with Amazon Science as well while working on another project with NLP. I'm the conference lead for the SoCal AI Responsibility Summit that Akshay talked about. And as Akshay mentioned, like about the exciting opportunities that this conference brings to everyone, we expect about 500 students from UCLA, USC, Caltech, UCSG, and a bunch of other SoCal colleges. Based on the amazing lineup of speakers and sponsors we have from so many different fields, including health tech, music, legal teams as well. Like all these people are so excited to be a part of the conference that we are organizing, and we have also given the opportunity to students who have created some impact through research and projects in this space to come and show their work at the poster session. It's an exciting day to be out there and have the smartest brains of AI space talk to you and show you how you could improve your lives and get involved in innovative space that this brings us. If you're interested in making an impact through your ideas and projects that you have worked on, you should definitely check out our website and go to the booth section to sign up for the poster session. We can't wait for to see all of you at the event and make the most out of this opportunity. And we would love to talk more about the tools that we are going to be discussing today. So over to you, John.
Wow. So I don't know if I even want to try to follow up anything that you guys just said. Come on now. Well, I'm John, and I have been sort of in and around the AI space for, gosh, decades now. Back when it was not even anything recognizable, long before neural networks, long before deep learning. Not that kind of sound like a hipster talking about a pizza joint that you just like found out about. I'm like, before it was cool, but before it was cool, I had the incredible opportunity to just be in the right place at the right time and get to see this begin at Apple and then eventually at Amazon. And then most recently, I got to be part of the team that took SoundHound AI public, which, if anybody's read about SoundHound, they're a phenomenal company with truly amazing tech. NVIDIA certainly seems to think so because they now have an incredible stake in SoundHound because of voice to meaning as opposed to voice to text, which is much more difficult to use in sentiment analysis and some of the other sorts of AI tools that we'll learn about at the conference. Also, to throw back to something Utkarsh just mentioned, this is a SoCal conference. This happens to be the Bruin AI squad we're talking to right now, but I'm actually a Trojan MBA from across the way. So this is a first of its kind. This is Bruins and Trojans working together to create the future. That's how powerful AI is. That might be the most powerful thing AI has ever done, is get Bruins and Trojans on the same call. But I cannot wait to be there at this conference as well. Thanks to the amazing invitations, I get to be a speaker there, and I cannot wait to share some of the practical knowledge that I'm finding that has transformed my life, the way I work, the way I live, the way I honestly think, which is just crazy. And to come back around as we segue into our very first topic. First, if you check out the screen, you'll actually see a very easy link that you can follow if you would like to check out the Bruin AI homepage. Give that bad boy a scan. Wait, over there. There you go. And that will actually take you directly to the homepage, not just for now, but for any time. And that will be live on this recording. That means that future events, newsletters, anything that comes in the future, you get access to that. So I'll leave that up during this next part as well. I had the incredible opportunity last week to be at the GTC conference, which is NVIDIA's global technology conference, and actually had a chance to actually see and chat with for a few moments Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. And the whole time, the whole conference, there was all of this excitement about what comes next. What do we do next? And the ethical application of AI, I'm really excited to say, was probably the most consistent theme. That and like, check out this cool, shiny new thing I can do. The undertone was, and how do we do that in a way that's ethically responsible and sustainable? From weather modeling to predict major disasters or even just make more efficient use of water, all the way through energy optimization, to kind of go back to conversations that the three of us have had. And so that's why I'm so excited to be in this conversation, in the future parts of this series leading up to the event itself, and who knows, even after. And so thank you everyone who's here, because you being part of this conversation not only legitimizes, but you could be part of right now shaping the way AI works by simply adding, if you read that big paper from the Transforming AI philosophy of attention, all you need is attention. This is attention. And so you're doing that right now by being here. So thank you for saving the human race. No big deal. Speaking of saving the human race, let's talk about 3 cool things that we can do in our everyday lives. No pressure. I kind of built that up a little bit too much. But Akshay, would you like to lead us out with the first of our 3 things people can do right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, John. I think before getting to our first application, I want to touch a little bit upon what John just said about AI has been there in the world for a few decades now. But why this topic is really important now is because for the first time ever, AI has become accessible to people. And when something becomes accessible, such a powerful piece of technology, you want to focus on how you can use it the right way, use it the ethical way, and use it in a way which doesn't harm people, which it doesn't harm society. And so I want to touch upon a first application of artificial intelligence, how you guys can use artificial intelligence to supercharge your life. And the first application I'm going to talk about is related to workflow management and improvement. What that means is, in our life, in our daily life, we go about using Google Calendar, our Gmail. We have note-taking systems like Apple Notes, or some of you might have heard of Notion. These are systems that we use to improve our life and improve our workflow throughout the day. While I can't talk about all of these different systems, what I want to touch upon today is a system called Notion AI. For those of you who have heard of Notion, Notion is, in very simple words, a note taking app. You can take notes on it. And where it differs is Notion has just released recently a new feature in Notion, which is called Notion AI. And what Notion AI does is help you ideate, manage your knowledge, and integrate all of these different notes that you build on Notion together. A really quick way to analyze that you might benefit from this app is think about how you take notes right now. And notes could be something as simple as taking notes in your personal life, writing down about your day, or it could be as complicated as taking notes in a UCLA class or taking notes in a meeting that you're conducting. I want you to think about what your current way of taking those notes is. Do you like take a note and is it all cluttered, or is it organized? And has AI helped you connect these different pieces of information together and supercharge your way of taking notes? So,
Mm.
without already talking so much about it, I want to delve right into it. I want to share my screen and show you guys how you can use Notion today in your life to supercharge everything. All right. So if you guys can see my screen, I have a new Notion page. The easiest way to download Notion, it's very easy. Go online, search install Notion, and you should be easily able to install Notion. And the Notion AI feature is pretty much built into the app. And what you do is, let's say I want to write a few things about the conference, and then I want to ideate. And how you simply use this AI feature is very, very simple. Part of the applications me and Utkarsh are going to talk about are very integratable into what you currently do. So how you use it is you press space, and that's it. And now you can write, help me ideate about how to conduct an AI conference at the undergraduate university level. And let's see how this AI application is going to help me ideate whatever I am trying to think about. And it goes on to talk about how it can be really exciting and engaging, and how to engage with their attendees, organizing workshops and hands on sessions, and promoting the conference as well. Now, I want to get more specific, and I'll ask it to I'll highlight this entire segment that I talked to Notion AI about. I'll click this and I'll ask AI about finding action items in this. And it, with a click, finds me different action points that I can use to get started with it. And it'll even ask me if I want to upload this, do I want to change a few things, and I replace this selection with action points. So I identify main themes or topics. One of the main themes is how to improve your daily life with artificial intelligence. So that's pretty apt. And you can do so many different things. All you got to do to check out the features is press space. You can summarize, you can find action items, you can even translate this. So if I do this, and if we have any Spanish speakers or Hindi speakers, go India, you can basically ask AI to translate this into, let's say I want to translate into French, and there it goes and translates it into French. Um, so I leave you guys to explore this. But my entire point with this is using AI can be really, really simple. In a world where all of us think that we've got to build AI applications and we've got to do so much to improve our lives with AI, all you got to do is press space on Notion, and that's how you use AI in your first way.
Actually, Notion is so powerful, and there are people out there right now. And let's introduce some new terms in case anyone here is like brand new to this scene and they're were waiting for something like this as their first moment to really start talking about AI. First of all, if that's the case, I'm so glad you're here because you're starting at the best time. The best time to start with AI is always tomorrow, which is such a weird thing to say, right? Because everything's happening so fast that knowledge that was even a few days old is sometimes already obsolete. So there's no such thing as too late. Whenever you start, that's the right time to start. And it's super exciting. And the way that you introduce that, actually, I've seen now people in the user generated content, there's that term, UGC economy, which is a term that's now sort of being used to describe a world where we create things, largely digital products and services, and then we sell them on marketplaces that are built into new places like UEFN, Unreal Engine for Fortnite, Roblox, to use a couple of gaming examples. Etsy is a good example of a user generated content site where people are actually selling Notion templates, and which is essentially a form of prompt engineering, which is a term that means figuring out how to talk to these machines to make them do cool things for people who don't necessarily know how to talk to them yet, in a very, very overly distilled way to say that. And boy, that tool Notion right there could literally be a career maker. I've seen people using that thing so fluently now that it's probably worth more than most meetings I've ever been in that I am worth, right? Like I would rather have Notion in the meeting than me, frankly, if I was anybody else. But like that's so powerful. That is so, so powerful.
Absolutely.
But gosh,
Yeah.
over to you. Would you like to share yours?
Sure. Yeah, awesome. A really cool tool that we talked about right now. And I'm sure like Notion has been significantly affecting a lot of people in the last few years, and like it has been grown to a very common utility app for everyone. But today I'm going to talk about something which is slightly more relevant than I would feel in everyone's life, and it's always about taking care of your personal finances. Well, John, let me tell you this that I have always been in a habit to take notes of every spending that I do. This is something that I was doing from my freshman year. I was very determined. I was told by a few friends that doing that would make life so much easier for you. But I did that for a while. But then I started getting different accounts, new credit cards. Things started getting much more complicated. And I couldn't really find a way to have everything at one place so that I can have an idea about my spending habits. And that's the point where I stopped doing it. And I still regret it because it made my life so much more easier when I only had one account or one debit card or one credit card. So I'm today going to be talking about an AI tool called Clio, which is the world's first AI assistant dedicated to personal finance. This is currently been used by 6 million people worldwide, and this currently ranks the top 100 in finance apps out there. And it's changing the way of budgeting. Targeted towards Gen Z and millennials, this app not only gives clear visualization of your spending habits, but also learns over time how you spend to save your recurring costs or save your habits, which kind of is going down the drain with your personal finances. The most exciting feature about this app is that it can roast your poor habits by showing where you're dropping money. Uh, with bank safety standards by Plaid and a bunch of other certifications, this shows your bills in a spend. This shows your bills and spending trends in a read-only mode. So you're always assured that no one's going to mess up with your accounts. No one's going to use your login details to mismanage your accounts or anything. The first look of this app gives it a very budgeting app vibe, but it's much more than that. They have their own bank and a credit card system, all targeting youngsters to learn more about saving and growing their wealth. When I first used the app, the UI always captured my mind because it's like so incredibly targeted towards people my age, teenagers or young adults, that it's becoming more and more relevant every time I use it. And that is the reason I'm able to go back to the app. I do not have the fear of looking at my Bank of America app and see how much I spend because that kind of makes me guilty at times. And I don't want to see all those cells like showing, yeah, I spent so much on Uber Eats this month and whatnot. But this app has a much more appealing UI to it, which really helps me like better understand like what exactly I'm working with. Uh, I researched a little more about this company, and the CEO of this company is talked about a few things in a different podcast, saying that this app is not only intended towards creating a budgeting app, but it's like much more than that. It's also to improve your habits and grow financially. I've always been a fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's a book that I recommend to every single person who's getting into finance. And it always talks about the importance of financial knowledge, which is probably more than any knowledge, any degree that you can think of. And this app is particularly targeted towards that as well. You're not only looking at your money, but you're also trying to learn new things through blog posts and articles and recommendations, which like always come up in your feed in this app. One thing that I like about Theo is that they invest in researching on consumer psychology, which assists them to provide more personalized reviews into financial reports. They have their own blog page, which is really popular, and I was looking at their views, which like always gets close to 100K views in a month. And they cover very popular topics as well as some interesting topics over time, which can encourage the sweet adult young life, which should be spent with responsibility. Uh, I saw a post where it was teaching me like how could you throw a Super Bowl party on a budget. But that was one post, and there was another post right next to it which talked about how you could understand things like inflation. So it's covering very important financial topics, trying to grow or get you more engaged in capturing those important information as well as making life easier for you by giving such relevant experiences and information of how you can use and make life easier for yourself when it comes to like spending your own money or managing your own money. I'm a college student, so is Akshay, and we all understand the kind of struggles that we have, and we especially dive into this new environment after coming from home, and particularly for me as well. Like I'm far from home right now, so I have my entire life to myself, and I need to make my decisions very carefully. Otherwise, I could go into trouble. So these kinds of apps, like so well powered with AI, really helps me a lot when it comes to like making life easier. A little bit more about the app, which I feel like is something that should be mentioned here. You can look at the app. You can look at the bank statements directly through this app when you connect them to your all the accounts that you have with a much more appealing UI. So as I said, like yeah, you don't want to see the apps that you have, all the credit card apps that you have, because you might not be interested in seeing how much you spend in the last 15 days. But this has a much more appealing UI and kind of gives you a better insight on how you could improve rather than just telling you, yeah, you spend this, you spend this, you spend this here and there. Um, the budgeting category on this app allows setting spending limits specific to the habit. Shows you the bills, divides spendings into essential and non-essential costs, which kind of gives you even more insight if you're interested in getting more data about your spending habits. There's the chatbot feature, which I think is probably the most exciting feature of this app. And the chatbot can like roast you, even hype you, like showing a good insight about your spending habit. Show you how much money would you have saved if some habit might have been avoided. So there are like really cool features in that, and also another thing that I have in mind is like it also talked about uh, how you could particularly buy something that you're really looking for. So I was interested in buying a new MacBook for me because I've been using this for 7 years. And I asked it, like, is it possible in my budget? So I asked me all the requirements and the urgency of having that product and the cost obviously attached to it. And it kind of gave me the insight that maybe it's not the right time to do that. Maybe I need to spend a little less on Starbucks coffee. That's what it said exactly. Maybe I need to start spending less on Starbucks so that I can actually afford a MacBook. Um, this app also has the habits tab, which kind of gives you insights into your spending habits, just like me. So it told me how much hour I have spent on eating out or like taking food from like food chains, which I obviously do not want to share here. But it gave me an option to learn on how to cut down my spending on my guilty pleasures by giving me a saving style, which could be either putting limits on my orders, number of orders, or putting limits on my spendings. In the case of eating out here, which kind of gives me some room to plan my month better. I would highly recommend this application to anyone my age to improve spending habits and learn through better visualizations and insights through an AI powered critique, which is not only meant to help you grow and learn to be a smart spender by not only showing you the money and the numbers, but also showing you memes and trends of how you could turn into a meme if you don't start spending well.
The threat of becoming a terrible meme may be among the most powerful motivators. Boy, pulling this app up, and I hadn't actually had a chance to like surf through it, but I was about to put the link up on the screen here. Boy, it's really interesting because one of the points that you made there, Karsh, about the chat bot, this actually goes so far beyond what you would see in a normal quote unquote chatbot setting. And this really speaks to how far AI has come in the last 6 months. Where if you go back to just October, September of last year, we were nowhere near where we are right now with AI agents. And for anybody listening, an AI agent is essentially a program that can do stuff. And if you look at this, this is literally transferring money in accounts based upon a prompt. So, a conversational example: could you send me $100? I want Taco Bell, says Utkarsh. Cleo says, I appreciate you telling me the truth. Money sent. Utkarsh says, thanks, Cleo. Cleo says, since we're being honest, you're so broke, it pains me. Right? You might not even go get Taco Bell at that point. You're like, all right, fine. What's so exciting about this, beyond just like how cool it looks, how well it appears to work? I haven't used it yet. By the way, for anybody listening, none of these apps we're recommending are sponsored. Like, we're not sponsored by any of these people, FYI. So not only do our opinions not necessarily reflect those of our employers, current, former, or future, or any affiliations we have, none of these companies have any idea we're talking about them. And they're certainly not paying us to do so. So just FYI. But this is really impressive. And what I love about this is, there's some of these memes that you see floating around, like "okay, boomers," not quite as prevalent these days, but it's usually a response to some sort of like, "Oh, you are broke because you buy too much avocado toast," right? Like, let's just call it what it is. People throw these seemingly joking statements around a lot. But if we stop joking for a moment and we talk about an education system that addresses our financial literacy in absolutely no way, shape, or form, right? All the way through my high school, and now I'm 400,000 years old, so maybe that's, I was graduating right around the time Lincoln was taking office. But even since then, nothing has changed, which makes it even worse. There is very, very little financial literacy education, and so if there's an app now, or a suite of apps that not only teach you, to your point, Akash, how does inflation work? Why is this happening right now in a way that's likely unbiased, right? Rooted in data is what I'm seeing here is in the reviews. That not only roots us to objective truth, which that's my favorite thing about AI. When it's data does not care about your feelings. And so you get away from any sort of news cycle that is skewed. It's just reality. And boy, I've had some disordered realities about my finances in the past. I don't want to know, right? Ukash, I would have just bought that MacBook and been like, "Dear Cleo, I hope that was okay," right? No. And so, like, that's fantastic. Especially to your point, this is clearly aimed. They even say it's for the hype generation. I don't even know what that means, but for a younger group, and that is fantastic. That's where financial literacy is really being built here.
Absolutely, definitely, yeah.
Quickly going to throw this up on screen. I've gotten two. Let's check chat. No chat questions here, but on LinkedIn, I had somebody ask me twice now. I'm just going to put that QR code in the top of the screen. That is the link if you want to see where I got this shirt. That would be it right there. I'll leave that there for 2 seconds. And there we go. Okay, so far we've learned about Notion. We've learned about Clio. So Notion for note-taking and really automated, in a lot of ways, prioritization, workflow management, note-taking, and ideation. And then we learned about Clio, which not only gives us financial literacy, it also creates the ability for us to organize our finances strategically and, honestly, potentially to automate a lot of our own financial backstory. Okay, let's go back to you, Akshay, for our third and final. Take us home with number 3.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to download Clio the first thing after this. I think I need it. I think I've been spending too much. But this third one is really interesting because till now we've talked about what are some applications of software out there that we can use that enables us to connect through AI. Something like Notion AI requires downloading Notion. Now I want to talk about how not only can you use AI, but how you can build personalized AI for yourself and integrate it with other systems. For the first time ever, people can create applications with such ease. And these applications can be created through the use of custom GPTs through ChatGPT, which is really cool. If you haven't heard of custom GPTs, um, I hope you guys have heard of ChatGPT, but ChatGPT took the world by storm. It's what everybody is talking about. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. but use ChatGPT, ask it anything, and it's just an interface which can talk to you about anything. And it's pretty cool. I would suggest using it if you haven't. But I want to talk about, and I think John talked about this a little bit about accessibility of education and using AI to educate ourselves. And you can think of it as you being this manager now and accessing different AI applications and asking them their expertise. So I would ask Clio for Clio's expertise on finance related stuff. I would ask Notion on Notion AI's of ideas. And so we want to create different applications we can access and ask them questions. And so this next one, custom GPTs, you give it information about what you want it to do. For example, um, you can give it information about um, here is a document that I've received from a client. This document contains information about the deliverables. Can you tell me about the deliverables this 50-page document requires? You can essentially talk to your data. I want to show you an example that's pretty applicable to me and every other student out there, which is how you can personalize learning and talk to ChatGPT about classes in your college or school, or even about courses that you take online. I want to mention this quickly because a lot of us, when we talk about using ChatGPT in our classes or in anything that we learn, the first thing we think about is um, doing stuff that damages academic integrity or so-called is called cheating. In no way do I want you guys to cheat. Using ChatGPT can be much better used to assist you with the learning process instead of using it for unethical purposes. This is a big topic we talk about in the Southern California Responsible AI Summit, alongside all of these other topics with a lot more technical depth. There are a lot of professionals that are going to talk about how AI is going to change our lives and how we can ethically use AI. There's a big problem of data breach. And we're going to talk about all of this in the Southern California AI Responsible Summit. Um, but let me go ahead and share my screen and show you what I mean by using ChatGPT to empower your education journey. Awesome. Cool. So as you can see, I have a GPT not called Chat GPT, but Psychology 115 GPT.
This
Now,
is
why
so
is
rad.
that?
Like, I'm just got to
And
say
how
it,
did I do
which is
this?
so awesome.
No, absolutely. And I essentially have a custom GPT, a customized GPT model that is my own application that I have made to help me with each and every one of my classes and personalize my learning. Um, so, how do we use this? Simple. Hey, how do I use you? You can just ask it. And so it's going to tell me that it's an assistant for me for the Principles of Behavior and Neuroscience course. And I can ask it topics related to nervous system anatomy, physiology, and all of these different other things. It even tells me about logistics of my class. And a lot of times, what we do as college students, we've got so much information, there's so much content, and an easier way to review that content is just uploading it on this custom GPT and asking it questions. So let me ask, let's see, what is the overview of week two in the class? I've come out of a tiring day in week one, and I'm like, okay, what all do I have to do for this class in week two? I don't have the energy to go to the portal, try to find the syllabus, try to find the timeline. I just cast ChatGPT, and it tells me that it focuses on neurophysiology. The first part is there's no lecture because there's MLK Day holiday. That's awesome. And the second one talks about action potentials in neurons. And so it tells me about what's going to happen in that week. Um, there's no discussion sections. That's good. Let me ask, what are the assignments or quizzes due in week 2? See, no specific quiz or assignment due directly within that week. It's important to note that quizzes in this course are structured to cover materials from the preceding week. Week 2 may not have a quiz. The content learned during this week will be essential for upcoming quizzes. So, quiz 1 is January 23rd, which covers week 1 and 2 materials. And this is, when is this? Okay, so it even tells me about what I should prepare. And I can even ask it questions about explain to me this topic, and it can do that because it has a knowledge base. And what's the back end of all of this looking like? So you can go ahead and edit GPT, and I can see that I've named it Psychology 115 GPT, and I've given it all of the information that it needs. I can even upload files, and I can even give it access to the web so that it can double check information. So I can literally tell it, double check all information with the web before giving me that information. And for the first time, you can see that I don't need to be a coder to create an app. All I need to know is basically a language. English language works, so I can upload that file. And so I have a GPT model that's pertained to me using ChatGPT to empower that class. And I can even take this a step further and connect it to my Gmail, to my calendar, and give it access so that it knows all of the information. Maybe in week 2, I can't complete my quiz because I'm sick. All I need to do is write, construct an email for my professor that I am sick, um, and make it, I want to review it. And so it gives me an email. I'll review the email, I'll fill up the slots, and I'll be like, send it to the professor. And without even going to Gmail, Psychology 115 GPT can access my Gmail. And that's more of getting into the technicals of it. You can use API integrations like Zapier, or create your own API key and send it to my professor by accessing Gmail through this GPT model. So this is just the start of so many different applications that you can use on a language interface. The easiest way to access something or think about something is in your own language. And this is what artificial intelligence is doing. We talked about Notion AI, Clio, ChatGPT. Something common that they're all doing is that they're intelligent systems. And instead of thinking about them and using them to replace yourself, you should empower yourself by integrating them in different areas of your life: finance, productivity, time management, all of these different applications. And that's currently the easiest way to do it. It only becomes better from here. And I'm really, really excited to hear more about it in the conference that we're going to have.
So, wow, right? So, if anyone here hadn't seen a custom GPT before, if you'd heard about it or even used others, by the way, OpenAI has a GPT storefront where if you create, like, for example, I mean, actually, I know you've started other companies before, but you might want to just start selling your Psych 115 GPT on there, my man, because what I just saw was something I would pay for if I was taking that class. You know what comes to mind right away? Anyone here who's ever worked in a technical software, really any kind of engineering capacity, the term stack might mean something to you. And that means, of course, the interlocking set of software tools that you use to go from idea to usually executable code or whatever that looks like, or maybe even the physical thing that you're creating, be it 3D printing or whatever that looks like. Now, you're starting to see these new stacks, like your personal stack, evolve. And there's a few products out there, which, again, we're not sponsored by any of this stuff. This is just us finding cool stuff and sharing it here. There are products now that are beginning to be released kind of alongside each other that interlock. So, for example, if you take what we just saw from Akshay showing us that custom GPT and you apply that Notion process or workflow. Now you've got not only a set of action items that was populated from notes that maybe was sitting in class, maybe that's notes that were shared, who knows, as long as it's ethically being done within policy, great. But now not only do you have the ability to get an analysis of action items and a clear understanding of them, but you also have an ability to synthesize content and your own understanding to expedite your learning in a way that's meaningful. And it's not replacing learning, like is the fear so often, I believe, with academic institutions, with any really anything, but especially AI right now. But then you add hardware, right? So there's still this crazy stuff called hardware that we still need. There's products out there. I use one called the High Doc. There's one called Cloud Note. And there's a whole suite of these things. Every time I open up any social media, there's another, because I talk about this all day long, I guess it just hears this and goes, you want more, you want more. And there's always some new one. But they're effectively usually GPT 3.5 turbo powered note tools that Bluetooth to your phone, use your phone's internet connection, and essentially whenever you click a button, it listens to everything and it transcribes everything very intelligently, way better than the autocorrect destroyed dictation on most of our devices that we're using. And then that can plug right into Notion, and then Notion plugging right into your GPT-4, your custom GPT. And you've got a world where you could literally get to the end of your semester and say, how many times did my professor say the word and? And it will tell you in seconds. Let alone, when did we talk about this one specific, when did we get deep on Freud, right? Like, and it can, you could talk to it. And again, the way that you said that, actually, I believe is so powerful. You can talk to it as if you were talking to a peer or even a friend. I don't know if I'd call Cleo my friend. I don't want my friends to roast me that hard when I go to Taco Bell. Well, hurt my feelings. But man, so, and again, so cool. All this stuff is just happening. That link on screen right there, right there-ish, that'll actually take you to OpenAI's custom GPT storefront. Now, they've recently, they're in the process of finally and completely deprecating or getting rid of what we've historically called plugins. And there was a term that Akshay used a moment ago called API. An API is essentially a way that apps actually connect to each other, or applications connect to each other. And so if you are working in GPT-4 or Claude 3 or Gemini or any of the many different LLM, large learning models, which is what you'd use to describe these big tools, if you're using any of those, that's how you make it talk to other stuff. That API key. And that right there, that link will take you to OpenAI, basically giving you all their notes and saying, here's how to do all this stuff. And GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Transformer, the T being the most important part of that. OpenAI being really the first ones out of the gate to actually transform the data sets that they are training their models on. But in any event, follow that right there. Anybody watching this right now, if you follow that link, you could probably completely revolutionize your entire life. Not only your career and your academic life and your financial life, but you could come up with business ideas, ways to do everything that you do better. It helps me be a better parent. It helps me be a better partner. It helps me be a better writer. In fact, I'm just an animated avatar right now. I'm actually asleep in the other room. It's great. It's just so powerful, but it's super, super great. And that I'll get off my soapbox of enthusiasm about OpenAI. Sam Altman, sponsor us. Sponsor our stream next time, please. Okay, well, let's jump over. We've got time for Q&A now. I don't see any questions in chat, but for any of our viewers who are here, I totally get it. We kind of gunned it pretty hard on these things, and so there might not be, especially if you're seeing this for the first time, you might not even know what questions to ask, and that's totally fine. There's no such thing as a question that is too nascent or a topic that is too crazy to talk about here. If anything, we might not even know the answer to some of this stuff. Hopefully we don't. So if anyone has any questions, throw them out in chat. Otherwise, we can touch base on, I've got a couple of tools to throw out there if we want, but we'll kind of open it up. We'll just leave that open. Before we transition over to anything else, Utkarsh, let's go back over to you for a second. Did you have anything else that you'd like to address on Notion, Clio, or GPTs?
Yeah, sure. So at Brunei, we have had a series of workshops talking about these GPT bots that we can create, and Akshay has been leading as well as showing us a lot of demonstrations that we could have. And
Nice.
really, this application of ChatGPT's entire GPT-4, which is kind of a brand now, um, can be applied to every single phase of your life. And we have used it for like such fun things as well. So, for example, Bruin here has the concept of families. We have different families, every member is a part of different groups. And we kind of like came up with this idea to develop a GPT bot for each of our families as well. It's going to talk about the morals that you guys have. It's going to talk about the logos, handshakes,
Oh,
members, like what kind of things do the members do, what are the positions of each of the members. So it's a really fun thing to like do amongst your friends as well as obviously it's already contributing towards your productivity as well as the new ideas that you can use it to like come up with. As you said, like very correctly, it could you could use it to actually implement a business idea from scratch, and it can definitely talk about the action items. That's the best part about it. Like we covered this in Notion AI as well, where you could provide it anything that you're kind of thinking of working on, and it could provide action items on it. So obviously, a business idea cannot be developed, but just by an LLM. But you're gonna have some sort of like action items to like use and talk to the people, do some market research yourself to get an idea about like what kind of gaps are actually there in the industry in the market, and that's gonna help you like develop an idea all from there. So it's I have heard a lot of fears of people saying that it's going to take your job, it's going to be really unproductive for the people, it's going to make sure that you are not. It would make sure that the skills that you're acquiring with colleges when you're taking your undergraduate degree might never be relevant again because GPT would do that for you. I feel like it's going to be an assistant, it's going to be a helper, and that's what it's meant to be from the beginning of OpenAI's creation. I've talked to people at OpenAI and they have always resonated with the fact that it started as a non-profit and it continues to have those morals, even though it has been involved in a lot of business stuff, but it always wants to focus only on the stuff that would help and empower humankind.
yeah, yeah. For a nonprofit, they've profited pretty well. I want to take one more moment and throw up on screen one more time that link to the Bruin AI homepage. In fact, we might as well just leave that up on screen for the remainder of our call, not only because it works really well, but it looks kind of cool actually with that logo. Um, in the time that we have, quick check to see if we've got any messages on LinkedIn. And okay, yeah, mostly just people saying that they are enjoying the conversation about the custom GPTs. So unsurprising, I'm super envious. I wish I was there for that roadshow because I guarantee you I could learn a ton from what that custom GPT model that y'all are putting together looks like. A tool that I would throw out there for folks to consider to add to this stack, to your personal stack. It has some redundancy with Notion, to just put that out there, but it's called Motion. And that's right, it's not only one letter off, it's only one letter in the alphabet away from Motion and Notion. But Motion, like an object in motion, is an AI powered task and project scheduling automation tool. And I use this thing all day long, every day. It does work very nicely with Notion. So Notion tells you ultimately like what you should do based upon what you've heard or written down. Motion tells you when you should do it, and it automatically schedules things for you, including meetings, calls, follow-ups, lets you know if you miss deadlines, adjusts deadlines for you, helps you to categorize and prioritize everything from huge projects that you can break down into the infinitesimally small elements of tasks, all the way down to literally like remind me to take out the trash every week on Monday night at 8 p.m. kind of stuff. And it accomplishes what I believe. It's speaking very much my own opinion, my own personal stance. I think that we have to talk about AI replacing jobs, right? And while it will I believe AI will absolutely replace people who aren't using AI, right? AI will not replace people, but it will replace people who are not using AI. We'll put it that way, I believe. And the first thing that it does is it offsets and takes away this minutia, this time that we spend in our brains on the least productive, least creative stuff that really. And I have to. It's so funny using so much AI now. I have less patience with like mundane tasks where I'm like, how is this not automated, right? How is checking this mailbox right now not something I could just program a GPT for? uh, but that's silly ridiculousness, or is it? Right? Because next wave robotics, which is one of the coolest parts of that at GTC, robotics are quickly becoming the hands for the mind that is what we're building here, right? Which is really, really cool. Motion helps me stop thinking about whether I need to this huge task, right? You can accomplish so much more when something's organizing it for you. And it's like somebody who knows your whole world and your priorities, including your tendency to prioritize or to not do things well, is standing right next to you saying, hey, maybe we should change your day around a little bit because you have this thing that's you've said is really important and you're talking about it a lot. And we could accomplish that more completely or more quickly. And so, yes, yet another unpaid endorsement for a product is Motion. All right, we've got Karen Harrison saying, great talk. Thank you so much, Karen Harrison. Very much appreciate you there. Okay, well, with that, we are a couple minutes over. Wanted to leave a little bit extra space for Q&A. Here's the cool thing. This LinkedIn Live is not only going to be available on LinkedIn later, this is also available immediately. It's streamed live on Twitch, so this will be clipped on Twitch. This is on Instagram Live. This is on TikTok. This is also on YouTube Shorts. So anybody who, or I guess in this case, just good old-fashioned YouTube, because this is not a short. But anyone who comments, if you continue to comment on the thread in LinkedIn, the conversation just keeps going. So we can respond to those comments, post your questions there, certainly feedback. This is not the last one of these calls, and so that'll honestly really help us to get even, hopefully, better and create more value for you, the listener, who's going to go and recreate the whole world. So let's close it down. Let's go final thoughts. We opened it up with Akshay, so we're going to start with Akshay, and then we'll give you, Utkarsh, the last word.
Yeah, I want to say something about ChatGPT and these other AI applications empowering us. As John said, this is an opportunity to remove a lot of slow moving tasks, repeatable tasks that are dependent on data and something that we do every day. To get that out of the picture, automate that, and focus more on innovation and on doing things that require that puts our mind to things that AI can't do, which is innovation and ideation and stuff like that, and just empowering all of that. There was an interview by Steve Jobs, and he talked about how technology is a is something that can be used to empower us and speed up the things that we do by an exponential amount. There was a study conducted where they saw the speed of different animals while running, and the human being, in comparison to other animals, wasn't even close to the fastest animal. But then a second part of the study revealed that there was a human being on a bicycle or a car, and this person was faster than all of these other animals that were there. And so it is just a very human tendency and ability to create technology that makes us more efficient, more productive, and powerful. And just like a calculator allowed us to get rid of using numbers in our head and calculating all of those long calculations in our head and put it into a piece of technology, AI is sort of on the similar lines where we're doing tasks that we used to do manually by ourselves, giving it to this artificial intelligence system and asking it to do faster. So, to all of you out there, this is an opportunity to really innovate and think about different concepts from a more innovative point. If you have any idea that you think you want to automate this idea and you think this idea has potential and you want to present it and how it can be automated using AI, I would highly encourage you guys to write us an email, bruinaiucla@gmail.com, saying that I want to present this at the conference. We have multiple opportunities to do this. You can present your AI research. You can present different ideas that you've worked on that use AI in them. And we would love to connect with you and help you become better with using AI.
So well said, Utkarsh. Over to you, and I'll put up that. That was Bruin AI
bruinaiucla at the rate gmail.com.
BruinAIUCLA at gmail.com. Okay, I'll put that up on screen in a moment.
Awesome. Yeah, totally agreed with what Akshay said. And uh, we are out there just working on this initiative that is going to bring a lot of people together and going to talk about some really exciting things. And this initiative is not just limited to the conference. We plan to take this forward and use the learnings that we get through this conference by possibly also introducing a course or like an ethics course, which we would try to teach at UCLA if we get the chance. And we have everything set in stone that we want to teach that. And also possibly create this as an opportunity to take this out there in the world and maybe introduce this to the high schools, which we have partnered with in the past to give them an education about AI ethics at the right time, at the right place. So this conference is a really exciting thing that we all have been working for the last few months. And we are really excited for you all to be a part of this event and make sure that you come up with great enthusiasm and open mind, and hopefully we'll get a lot of good outputs of this event.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Utkarsh, Akshay. Thank you for not only your leadership in this space, but for taking time out of your busy evenings as students, as thought leaders, to come and share with everybody for free. And I really hope to see everybody at the conference. If you're in the SoCal area, honestly, for my money, I would come from almost anywhere to be at something like this, because this moment in time right now, this is like the Magna Carta is getting written and you can be there for it. So this is one of those times, one of those places where there's this incredible coalescence of that thought leadership. And I'm so excited to be there. So thank you so much, gents. Have a wonderful day. Hope everybody here tunes in for our next in this summer AI series, where we'll be talking about yet another set of topics that you can use to apply right now in your life with AI. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.